a night.
What a night.
What a night, everybody. Welcome to For the Fans. Here we are tonight. I'm Sheldon here. Kevin is having some technical difficulties and is about to join us. Along with me tonight is Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
And the handsome CJ. And hello, CJ.
What up?
And coming back from technical difficulties, Kevin
What's up?
Gilreath.
So it got down to literally 3, and then it froze. And then Sheldon's face froze, and all I heard him was, all right, I'm taking over. I got to do the show. So I was like, it is what it is. Here I am. Welcome, guys, to For the Fans. Tonight was an episode. It was an episode. I think the episode was okay. It was a veto. Anytime we don't get the veto ceremony in the episode, I'm always like, all right. And like when we didn't get it earlier this season, that was juicy, right? That was juicy. That was good. There was a lot of like content. We're going to get some content for the thing tomorrow when we see it tomorrow, but it's not going to be like overwhelming. So it's kind of like a meh, right?
Do you think it's a result of there being a 2-hour episode tomorrow and they just need more time to fill?
I think that's part of it. I think that's definitely part of it. I think that it was that, and this may be, and we're going to get into it, but this may be the beginning of the end of the leftovers. Michael says it at the end of the episode. So that's why I think that, as we've talked about many times, the show is edited on a week-by-week basis, right? So we don't know if this is the end of the leftovers. There's no real way to tell, but everything looks that way, and we'll get into that in the spoiler section. But since it looks like it's getting lined up, I would think that they would want to use it as an inflection point for the season to like show like on the downslide. So saving it for next week or tomorrow makes a lot of sense, I guess, in that regard. But it just sucks if like everything ends up getting fixed and then they all come back together.
I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised, honestly, because like during the doubles normally, like Julie's like rush, like, you know, everybody go outside, everybody do this. I was surprised that like they may need some time to fill tomorrow. Normally it's the opposite where they need every minute, especially they're going to be splitting the house. So, I mean, if that's the case, then I think we're in for a real treat tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I think so, too. Sheldon, what about you?
Tomorrow, well, I'm really excited for the split. I'm excited for the twist. I'm excited for all of it. And the truth is that I think that the sort of cliffhanger is really important because the last 2-3 weeks, all we've seen is the power of the leftovers, and a cliffhanger that sort of focuses on, is this the end of the leftovers? To me, makes perfect story sense. Great episode. Why not?
So before we get into the episode recap, first I want to remind you guys to like, comment, and subscribe, all those good things. When we get to 250 subscribers, we are going to be giving away a gold power of Veto signed by a former Veto holder. So that's really cool. We will be giving that away. So get subscribed for that. In addition, make sure you listen to us talking on our podcast. You can find it on all podcast feeds under For the Fans. Reality, we're under that. Check it out on all podcast feeds. And also, if y'all didn't see, we had a fantastic interview held by Sheldon, Mike, and Kylie. They talked to Poochie Man himself, the old Poocher. The puppy was right on here in the For the Fans house, and they got to ask him all the questions for his kibble. How was that for y'all?
I had an absolute blast. It was the second time I've ever had the opportunity to meet one of these, well, not meet in person, but meet up virtually, one of these Big Brother people. And I have to say with Pooch that I don't necessarily think he got a bad at it. I think that the fact that he was only on the show for 2 weeks and the fact that the first 2 weeks was Paloma Central meant that we really didn't get the opportunity to really get to know the real Pooch. And, you know, we had over an hour of time with him, and he is extremely bright. He's street smart. He is book smart. He's got goals. One of the things about Big Brother is sometimes I say, how the heck did they cast this person? But sometimes the game just doesn't work out. They're not lucky. It doesn't work out in their fashion. And we don't see why they cast this person. And I think our episode, if y'all haven't seen it, those of you listening or watching, go check it out because you're going to see a whole other side of Pooch. And you might just fall in love with him and want him to come back. How about you, Mike? Did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, like these people who play on Survivor, Big Brother, I mean, a lot of people be like, oh, they're not celebrities. They got picked. They're normal people. But to me, like, this is my life. Like, I watch Survivor, Big Brother. I love it. All of reality TV. So having Pooch here, like, I was kind of starstruck at first. I'm like, even though he just was on our TV screen.
I could tell. See,
that made it even better.
I could tell.
Shit. I'm like, Pooch is here. But I will say, Pooch did a great job of kind of like shutting that down and being like, no, I'm a normal dude. Like he was just a cool ass dude. And I think it was cool to see. And like Sheldon said, like, we didn't get half the story on Pooch. If that's Pooch's real story about how he got into the game, what happened during the game, I want everybody to come on here and tell us actually what happened to them, because it was eye-opening, honestly. It was a good experience.
Kevin, you want Nicole back?
No, I still don't want Nicole or Daniel on the show. I would prefer not to have them.
I'll interview them.
But you guys did a great job. So if you are watching this and you haven't checked that out, make sure you check it out. It's a fantastic interview with Pooch. Check it out. Make sure you subscribe. Also, make sure you subscribe to the podcast anywhere where you can hear podcasts.
I just have to say, like, if anybody's listening to this and you have friends who watch Big Brother family, send them the Pooch link, because there's so much more that we just haven't seen, and I honestly think he deserves it. He needs to be seen a bit more. I'm going to stop grandstanding for him. Let's talk about the episode, I guess.
Yes, let's get into the episode. Tonight was a doozy. It starts with Terence and Indy getting put back on the block, because both of them had been on the block before, by Taylor. Taylor had said that there was a bigger target in play. But hey, it's jury now, so one of these people will be going to the jury house. Terence, first Indy, doesn't want any hugs. And then Terence says, fourth time, baby, don't need any hugs. So no hugs for nobody. How do y'all feel about that?
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't hug me. Terence has become grumpy.
It's funny because Terence is like, it's the fourth time I've been on the block. Well, Taylor's been on the block 4 times too. Like, you're preaching to the choir, my man.
The one thing I don't understand about the indie hug business is, for somebody who is so overly emotional, how does she not want a hug?
Well, Indy said early she doesn't like hugs, right? I've had friends who don't like hugs.
Hug me.
Admittedly, I just hug them, and I make them accept the hugs.
I love a good hug.
I love a good hug too. That's why I just make them accept it. But Indy doesn't want any of the hugs, and that is fine. She proceeds to tell them, especially Indy, that Monty is her real target. That's who she's really going for. I think it's really interesting that they're still sticking with this like charade, right? Yeah. Like, is it even necessary at this point?
Absolutely not. Like, I think that going into this week, we talked about it a little bit on Monday. This is going to be the easiest eviction you have all season. You put up 2 of the 4 on the outside. If one of the 2 wins, you put someone else up. If one of the 2 who wasn't up wins and pulls somebody off, you pull the 4th one up. Like, it's real simple. And at this point, you're starting to get to the point where you're going to start picking at each other anyway. So there's no reason to hide the alliance.
In fact, isn't there a benefit to actually show off the alliance so that when you need to start picking off, you don't need to have the conversation of, look, I was in an alliance with 7 people, and also now I need you to join me, even though I was just against you for the last X amount of weeks. Like, don't you want to start planting these seeds now that you're telling people about what's going on? You're bringing them in. Like, it seems like there's a benefit to that.
I think there is, but as we've been sitting here and talking about it for the last minute, I thought about it, and it might benefit to hide the alliance a little bit, especially with these guys, because they still believe that like certain people are not in the big alliance, such as Joseph, such as Kyle.
Right.
And they think they can be pulled away. And that allows them to occupy their time doing that while they are not able to actually formulate a strategy because they're too busy trying to work with these people that are not actually in the alliance. So that might do them better and give them something to do.
Is there also a really big difficulty as well with showing the alliance with Kyle and Alyssa's relationship? Like they just stopped.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like to me that might be a really big reason why they're just not going to do it because that's a huge trust issue for somebody who's now in a romantic sexual relationship.
Right, because you've been lying to her for 45 days.
Now, granted, you're lying to her about the game, but you know, after the 10 seconds of joy, like she might be upset.
You know, she hadn't been upset after a few seconds. A few seconds, she said that she loved it, but
she loved the 10 seconds, but she would have wanted 10 times that.
You tell her about the leftovers during the 10 seconds, and here's
there's
why.
Not enough time, Mike. There's not enough time as you're finishing up in those 10 seconds. All you got now is. So I'm in an alliance.
Yeah. Leftovers. Kyle. Me. Rapid fire.
Running through the name.
I mean, he already rapid fired. I don't think
Well done. Well done.
Back to the content of the show. So that was a good one, CJ. So Taylor's talking to Indy. Told her that Monty's the target. Monty's the one that she's going to go for. She seems to believe it. She talks to Terence, and Terence doesn't seem to be buying it for a second. And Terence does make a very valid point. You said that you're going for Monty, but you put me and Indy on the block. I feel like because of the last time I won the challenge, there was I ain't never won no challenges in this house. True. If you were putting up a pawn, you would think about maybe a Michael, but Michael didn't put you up, so maybe a Joseph or somebody else if you're really shooting at Monty.
Yeah, but like if you're Taylor and Terence hits you with this rationale, which is very sound logic, absolutely. What you respond is, well, I think I can beat you in a challenge, unfortunately, and I want to hold all the power so that when I send Monty home, I can own that move as part of my narrative for why I should win the game.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I also think that this read by Terence, again, I like Terence as far as his entertainment value. And I said from the beginning, if he does play this game well, I will like him less because of how bad he's been playing. I don't want to give him full credit for this read. I think all the speculation from Daniel last week got into Terence's head, and he's saying, okay, I know that Taylor and Monty are probably working together, and he's just using that information to come to this conclusion. Okay, it's probably not Monty. So I just want to make that clear and take any credit away from Terence for that good read that Monty and Taylor are working together, but that was Daniel's, and he's just taking it.
Yeah. Give the man some credit.
No, not here. Not here. He'll get it maybe one day, but not here.
But not here. No. Not on the For the Fans podcast.
Yep.
But the thing is that the we are so far into this game. What week is this? 6? 7?
6.
Like, and the way the house has sort of unfolded and where the stronger people are, like Terence is done. Like there's just nothing the man could do.
Toast.
And even whether it was Daniel getting into his head or him figuring out himself, like it's kind of over for him, and that sucks for him.
Hey, but he can keep floating through the game and keep getting them checks because that's all he can really do at this point.
So do they give them the same amount of checks whether they're in jury or in the house?
So once you get to the jury, I think so. Because I think you get a little pay bump.
Aren't they?
I think you get a little pay bump for being, for like your placement too. I think that's the second check. But I know that you get a check for being in jury for like because you get like a check for like the stay, right? Like how long you were there. So you're now in the house the rest of the time, which is why the goal is to make it to jury to get that full stipend, baby.
Right.
And I think your placement matters a little bit. When I was listening to a podcast with Hannah, she was talking about when these two people go, how does placement work? Because it's for money. So I think that matters. I think it's interesting though, because like you said, I don't want to give any credit to Terence, because that was a Daniel Nicole Reed, unfortunately. But with Terence knowing, I think it's interesting that Terence doesn't seem to understand why he's on the block. Like his poor treatment of Taylor, and that she found out about it, as well as he thinks it's just for his stumping for Daniel a little bit, but he's like, but Daniel's my boy, so you gotta understand. But it's not just that. It's the fact that this dude was a terror to her, and you supported a terrorist as far as she's concerned. And he doesn't seem to realize that part, which is interesting. But he does read right through her that he is definitely on the block for reasons, not for nothing. He's up there, and he may be her target. We next get a little segment about the Fly Swatters. The Fly Swatters is an interesting alliance because that alliance has come together to be dissolved in a week, right? It came together. We got a little time of them on the TV, but they're not going to matter.
How long do flies live? Like a day or two? That's basically the
lifetime of the Five Swatters. Yeah, because because Indy goes on the block, and the boys have no interest in keeping her, obviously. So it does it like this fake alliance. I'm surprised we're even getting on the TV.
There's no other game on the other side. Like there's nothing going on there. So I think like they have to, which is why I do think that they keep on showing us this Brittany Michael having conversations about when is the flip, when is the time we shoot on our own. Because they I'm sorry, Alyssa, Indy, Terence, they're not playing the game. They're not. They might think they're playing the game, but they're not playing the game.
You know what's interesting? I'm going to go back to something that Pooch actually said when we were interviewing him. He said that when we asked, who do you think's going to win? He said he thinks it's going to be one of the pairs. And I know in our minds we're not thinking, Festy Bestie's still going on, whatever. And that's not what I'm talking about. He was saying, Joseph and Monty, Taylor and Joseph, maybe Michael and Brittany, things like that, where the people who aren't in the leftovers, Alyssa, Jasmine, we know these people, the Five Swatters, I don't even know the name. You'd think maybe one of them would say, like Terence today, when he's talking to Joseph in the bathroom, I'm just thinking there, like, Terence, say something to Joseph. Like, look, I know there's a bigger thing going on here, which he obviously knows because Daniel told him, but you're going to need some support, some insulation from the outside. I'll be that for you. But it's unfortunate because even if someone was to say that, like Alyssa and Kyle, that's kind of the situation, they're still on the outs because they inside the alliance, they already have those clicks. They don't need a Terence. They don't need a Jasmine. Right. So really to say that Terence, Jasmine, Alyssa's a little more safe, I guess, to say that they're screwed is like an understatement, I feel like. Like they have no way to really infiltrate this unless they start picking each other off,
I think so. Sorry, CJ, I know you want to get in, but the only solace is that the physical and mental strength of the leftovers is in my opinion, so high that they will make a move against each other. And that means they will need the others around. Whoever's left, whoever the new leftovers are, they really need them.
I guess I'm saying that the reason we don't see any game from these other people outside of the leftovers is because the ball is nowhere near their court. They're going to have the only way they survive is if the leftovers choose to go after each other. They could just ride it out, though, honestly, if they wanted to, right? Just pick them off one by one.
True. You can put it on them. CJ, you want to get in there?
Yeah, because I'll say, like, to Pooch's point about the pairs, we've been talking about who's in the best position to win, and a lot of us think it's Turner, but that point of it's pairs. Turner doesn't really have a pair. Like right. Michael and Brittany are a solid 2. Taylor is a solid 2 with Joseph, it appears right now. Joseph also has a 2 with Monty. Like, somebody's going to have to take a shot. and they're gonna have to take a shot before they get to 7, because at that point it's like, oh, Joseph Taylor, Michael Brittany, there's your final 4, you're done. Or Turner can go with the three dudes minus Michael, leave the pound, you're done. Like, in order to end up on the right side of the numbers, you need to switch what side you're on right now before you get to 7.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Do you think Joseph is playing a good game? And I say that because we're talking about the pairs, and he's paired up with Monty or Taylor. In the episode, we next see that Terence talks to Joseph, asks him can he pick him for house guest choice, and Joseph's like, cool, and Terence tells him you can pull anyone down, and then that way you can show your cards. It makes Taylor show her cards. When he says that to him, he goes right upstairs to the HOH room and tells everyone, hey y'all, this is what Terence wants to do. He gets all this information and he runs it right back to the Alliance.
Yep.
And he does it constantly, which is great. He's played a double agent. But does that make him, is he playing a good game?
I just saw a complete similarity, and I'm going to do my boy Pooch a little dirty here. But do you remember when Brittany gave Pooch, I forget exactly what Brittany gave Pooch, but gave Pooch a bone. Kevin, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And Pooch went right to whatever alliance.
The bone that she threw her was that, hey, Amir's coming for you.
Okay, and he goes and runs and tells everyone, then proceeds to say, hey, put me on the block, nominates himself, basically. Did we not see Joseph do the exact same thing today? I know it didn't go exactly like that, but he goes and learns some information.
You're not wrong. There's similarities. There's a lot
weird.
Of similarities. The only difference is, the biggest difference is that was week 2. This is week 6. So we've been playing together for 45 days, and we've established
This is very true.
40 days of trust as opposed to 14 days of trust.
Yeah, very, very true. I just found that weird. I thought about it. I was like, that is very strange.
Is there also still this yearning to make sure Taylor feels like she is really part of the team?
Yeah,
is that still going on, and maybe that's part of it? So one of the
I think there is, but not so blatant, because at this point, all of her real mean people are gone. Jasmine's still there, but she's not as mean because she has no one to really be mean with. Indy's the only person she can like talk shit with, and so she does with Indy. But that's kind of it. And then Alyssa was mainly jealous of her because she thought Kyle wanted to be with her. But at this point, after Alyssa has gotten all of her fun in the last 10 seconds, she's less jealous. But they're still there. I mean, you heard the comment. It's still there. But it's not as strong. So she doesn't just sit around talking shit anymore.
But let me try to answer your question. I don't know if I'm right, but I think he is playing a good game. I don't think he's playing a great game. I think he has the potential to play a great game because one of the things, we don't see a lot of it on TV, but whenever he's in a room with somebody, he seems to, whether it's in a group, whether it be one-on-one, he does seem to be talking game with them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. Like, it's very easy for him to not even give Terence a second of game talk because he doesn't need Terence. He has his 7. But the fact that, somebody who's outside, he's still actually talking, like brainstorming. And I assume that if he's doing that with Terence, I assume he's probably doing that with other people. So that certainly builds significant amounts of connections and trust that will, in fact, hopefully help him into the future. Because I am a big Joseph fan. I've become a Joseph fan over the last 3-4 weeks. The question I have is point number 2. I think Joseph is completely and totally bought into the leftovers and potentially the pound. And when I say he's bought into the leftovers, I think he's bought into the final 7 and then go for the other 3. I think the question for me, and in terms of whether he's a great player, is will he screw over the other 3 before it gets to 7? I don't know he will. I don't know if he will. He seems quite loyal. My gut says Michael and Brittany will do him bad first.
Well, it's funny because Joseph, like, being the double agent, it's really tough to win because at some point you're gonna get exposed that you screwed everyone over. But he's doing a great job with jury management, because if he can stay in the middle and somehow navigate his way to the end, he didn't piss anybody off, which is a great argument when you're asking people to vote for you to win money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So the play that Joseph comes up with is that he's like, put me on the block. How about this? How about we put me on the block? Because Indy's pretty pissed. Let's take her down. Let's put me up. And then that way I'm sitting next to Terence. But then as they're sitting in the room, it switches and they're like, why don't we just leave Indy up there and take Terence down?
Yeah.
All these thoughts, all these plans. My biggest problem in all of this is that each plan that's presented, Taylor goes, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Then someone says something different. She goes, you know what? That's also a good idea. You know what? Let's do that instead. And then someone says a different idea. She's like, you know what? I hadn't thought about that. That's probably the way to go. Taylor as an HOH has definitely been underwhelming. A lot of it has to do with, it's not even indecisiveness, right? It's the fact that she's trying to be a good alliance member, but she's the one in charge at the moment, right? So she needs to like sit there, take all the information in, and then go, after all the ideas, I think this is the one we're going to go with. Let's figure out how we're going to execute that.
Would I be unfair in saying that Taylor is not a strong strategic player?
I don't think that'd be unfair.
And you know, I think there was even a scene in the last episode where she kept on suggesting things, and I don't know who it was on the other side. It might have been Turner, it might have been Michael, who was saying, well, no, that doesn't work because of X, Y, and Z. So like I think that this is really the first time that she has power in the game. That we're and she has power, and she's not just at the bottom or a number or something like that. And we're actually getting to see her strategic abilities. And sadly, they are not the best. I don't think they're the worst, actually, by any means. I think we've all seen worse. But she is not a strong strategic player. But I don't necessarily think that means she loses, actually, the game. Because I think she has a chance. I like, you don't need to be the best strategic player.
Correct.
You just need to get there, have a really good story.
Shot, Casey Crawford is not a great strategic player.
No. But
Josh Martinez is not a great strategic player.
But I have to say that I think, I don't remember who it was. CJ, I think it was you at the beginning of when we started covering this season of BB. You said she won Miss Congeniality. She is the queen, whatever, this beauty queen, whatever it's called, pageant girl. And she has the ability to really tell a story, and you even see it in the diary room. She's like going to commercial in the diary room and leaving cliffhangers. She knows how to talk. Like she will be a really big threat, and not just a threat because people hate her.
But it's funny because like all season, Taylor's been chasing this power, and it's like a dog that is chasing its own tail. It's like, okay, great, now you have the power. What are you going to do with it? I don't know. I never thought I was going to get this far. And it's very evident that like her big target coming into the week was Terence, which is number one, not a big target. And number two, as I had mentioned before, this is the easiest HOH anybody is going to have this season. And you still can't figure out how to pull it off. It makes no sense.
I think it comes from, because all season I've been rooting for Taylor from the beginning, from when it all.
And we still are.
Yes.
And we still are.
Yeah.
Still number one.
But
well, hold on.
There is a but.
I'm not rooting for her as much as I was 2-3 weeks ago. There are other people in the game. I'm far more excited to watch more of Joseph's gameplay. I'm far more excited to watch more of Michael's gameplay. Like that's the honest to goodness truth. I'm still rooting for her, and I want her to succeed.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
But if she wins, I don't actually know.
Well,
I'm not sure I'll be as happy because I prefer a strategic player to win.
I do too, but see, here's what I was going to say is I think same sort of thing. Never thought she would get there, and she's like, holy shit, I finally have power. Now she has this alliance who, though needed her, also she needed them. So it's almost like they brought her back to life. So when she gets in this room and she gets the key, this isn't I think in her mind,
This is our HOH,
this
y'all.
is our
This
HOH,
is
and
our
it almost plays into like if we look at every single thing that Taylor has done in this game, we should have been able to predict this almost because that's what she's done this game. She's been like for the people who are for her. So it's almost like, yeah, it's a little underwhelming and we're like, oh, this kind of sucks. But we could have seen that coming, I feel like, because anybody who's kind of been there for her, she's been there for them. The leftovers, if we want to do this, we'll do that. And I think it starts with the indecisiveness at the very beginning. This is what we're going to do. No, that doesn't work because of this. Okay, then we'll do this. No, that doesn't work because of this. You see Michael go up into the HOH room and he has a solid plan where no one can really say like, no, that isn't too good, or else they look kind of sketchy. But she kind of just threw things at the wall and saw if they would stick, and they didn't. And I think the leftovers took advantage of that and said, oh, we're going to have to guide her through this and do what we want.
Could that just be the way she speaks? Like that's her way to create a group discussion where it's I throw out idea, let them critique, and then I come back. Whereas Michael, it was a bit more of a discussion when he did talk with Brittany about stuff.
I don't know.
Maybe
if
it's
that's
just the way she speaks. I don't know.
I don't know if it's the way. I mean, that decision to go for Indy was made without her in the room.
Yeah.
Right. It was essentially Congress, and then the president walked in, and they told the president what was happening, and then he just had to put a stamp on it. That was essentially what happened, because they decided everyone knew that Terence was her target. And the boys got together and were like, Indy's more dangerous to us. So it's got to be Indy that goes. Let's go up to the HOH. Walk up the stairs. They get up there.
By the way, sorry, I can interrupt. I think it was 2 seasons ago that they finally gave them some real stairs. I hated the turning. As a big man, I don't want to go up that turning thing. It's not comfortable. It's tight. I'd fall. I'd get stuck. They'd have to butter me up to remove me out. I never liked it. That's why I'm never going to be on BB, those turning stairs. Okay, go.
Well, they walk up the stairs. They march up the full stairs. And they go and sit her down. And she's like, we're taking out Terence, baby. And they're like, but what if we don't? What if we take out Indy instead, maybe? Yeah. And she's like, "Ooh, I see where you're coming from. You know what? It was a little selfish. If the Terence idea was for me only, and as Mike said, this is our HOH. So since this is our HOH, if all of you guys are in agreement, that's what we're gonna do." And New York Proud here in the chat said, "It's very rare that people have beauty, personality, and brains. Most people have 2 of the 3. Taylor is no exception."
Well,
and
sorry, I'm gonna have to argue with you. Well, not argue, but critique that. Taylor is extremely bright. I think she's smart.
I'm not seeing the strategy. Strategic. I'm not seeing the strategy.
But that just because you're bad at strategy doesn't mean you're not smart. We play a lot of games, Kevin. We know a lot of people in real life, in person, online, who are super bright but can't do strategy for anything.
And I know a lot of people who can play a game but can't do calculus. So like, I don't know. There's different types of brains.
I also want to say, and maybe and later when we continue discussing this, I'm going to say another thing that's kind of negative about Taylor tonight, at least.
Not negative.
So don't think I'm just going to bat for Taylor all night. But for right now, like, this almost seems like, I don't know how to put it. It almost seems like in Taylor's mind, Nicole and Daniel going home were almost like for her. And I wonder if that's like a thing where she's like, okay, I kind of need to like not repay because she is the HOH, but kind of like, give these people what they want as well, because these 2 people hurt me, like actually, like my real life maybe hurt me. And they went ahead with their HOHs and did what I kind of wanted.
Took care of what I needed to happen for me.
Though they did nominate me.
It's for Nicole, it's what we had to do. We had to get me up there.
So if they want Indy,
I'll give them Indy. And you know what, Mike? That's a very, very, very good point, because as far as also, we have to remember that her biggest bullies in her mind were Daniel and Nicole, because those are the ones she knows about, right? Indy and Terence, she's hearing a little bit about it, but not as much. But they've all been bad. If she knew to the extent Jasmine's been bullying her, I'm sure Jasmine would have had more consideration.
Yes.
Right. So I think you're right. I think that's a very good point. She's like, on their HOHs, they helped eradicate the people that were terrible to me. So on this HOH, if this is what the people want, I'm gonna give the people what they want. Now, the thing that was interesting to me is that we get the veto player draw, and we get the first chip being the house guest choice, and that's pulled by Taylor. Taylor actively chooses Alyssa to compete in the competition. I think that was a bit of a mistake.
It's funny because Taylor, like, for whatever reason, she still wants to work with the girls, even though the girls have had it out for her since literally day one. Like 3 hours into the game, they decided they want her out. But for some reason, she keeps trying to cultivate that relationship. She had it in her mind going into the house. She wanted to work with the women. She's still trying to work with the women right now. This is her, I don't know, extending an olive branch, I guess. Like, there is no reason to be working on the other side of the aisle right now. It's 7 against 4. You have the votes. Just stick with what you know.
Right. Look, she is Miss Congeniality, and she's just trying to be congenial, and she wants to be nice to everybody. Part of me, what's that syndrome when like you still like your abuser, like
Stockholm syndrome.
Like I'm not diagnosing this woman, but like there is a little bit here of it's weird. Why is she doing that? Like I don't see it. It makes no sense to me.
I honestly don't think I think there's a plan in motion, but I don't think it's so in stone that if Alyssa wins veto, there's another thing that can happen. There's another thing that just means we'll do this. There hasn't been like a solid, this is going to happen. These people think Monty's going home. These people think Indy's going home. She thinks Terence is going home. If Alyssa wins veto, someone else can go home. It's just been kind of crazy. Like it's been like a roller coaster of who might go home. There's no solid plan. It keeps changing. So, I mean, personally, don't choose Alyssa. But if Alyssa does win, we'll just regroup after that.
Now, Jackie in the chat says that she thinks her picking Alyssa was a great strategy. She doesn't think that she was trying to work with them. She thought that she was protecting herself for next week, trying to prepare, trying to set something up. She knew that she went back on her word with Indy and the other girls, so she thought this was a way to try to shield herself and protect herself. That is a bit of an idea, and I agree with that. But if Indy's going home this week, it kind of like shoots her in the foot. On top of that, she doesn't need the girls, right? She wants the girls to like her, and she wants to be with the girls. But at this point, they're so far gone in terms of the numbers, it doesn't make sense. Plus, they never wanted her. So I thought that I see that what Jackie's saying. For myself, I was thinking it was a bad idea because you pick someone in your alliance that way you guys can for sure control what happens with the veto, right? You can make sure you have control because that's the most important thing is having control of the veto. Because yes, you could be put in a situation where Jasmine has to get put up, but then at that point, you're really showing your cards and you're forcing your hand because you're talking about Monty, this big backdoor target, and then you don't put up Monty. What now, right?
Well, it's funny because like they have this whole obsession with covering their tracks with the leftovers, which we've already talked about. We think is dumb, but like if Monty is this big backdoor target and you're really trying to sell the narrative of you're trying to win the veto, why not pick Michael? Because whether you're working with him or not, the dude is undefeated in veto competitions. And you know that he's going to win it and he could use it for you.
Right.
I have two thoughts about this. Number one, I think it would have been hilarious if she picked Monty to play because it would have imagine Terence's face. It would have been fantastic. Point number two, I actually don't remember. It's gone out of my mind, but I hope you all got a good laugh.
I was going to say, I think that picking Alyssa, if Alyssa is to win this veto, and Jackie, I get what you're saying to keep everything looking smooth, going good. If Alyssa is to win this veto and take Indy off the block, and Monty does not go up, And Taylor can say whatever reason why this didn't happen. There is going to come a moment where Alyssa and Indy sit down and say, wait, Taylor said neither of us were going to touch the block. But the only way that you stayed, Indy, was I had to win the veto to keep myself safe and then get you off the block and keep you safe. Is she really protecting us? I just think it's kind of counterintuitive. It wouldn't have gone well if Alyssa won this veto. It was too much of a risk.
I remember what I was about to say. I wonder if there's a little bit of a spillover effect with the cookout of, these are the leftovers. These are the unwanted. These are the undesirables. They all came together to form something and stay together. The cookout, had a goal of trying to have a black winner. And the cookout stayed true to the 6 and also stayed true to not letting anybody know about it. They were true. So I wonder if there's a little bit of the cookout did this last time. Maybe we should keep it a complete secret as long as we can.
Well, that's what's interesting.
We want to be just as good as them.
There's part of the people in the leftovers, like Monty, who's like, let's just show them. It doesn't matter. We're too strong. They can't beat us. And so he has that. He's of that mind. There are some that are like Joseph, like, we got to keep this under wraps. We got to keep playing this game. But people like Joseph are wanting to talk to the other side and work with the other side. Kyle wants to work with the other side and hide this whole thing from his girlfriend, who he's now in a sexual relationship with and is officially his girlfriend, right? I mean, the sexual relationship is quick, but it is what it is. So he's in this. We got to make sure we keep saying that. Let everybody know. 10 seconds.
I'll keep laughing too every time.
Did he
We've
ever
never
ask
talked
her
about it longer than their combined sex time.
Oh boy! Did you? That's hilarious, CJ. Did he ever ask her about the boy that she had?
No, he doesn't care. He just let that pipe real quick.
Yeah, that guy's a leftover now. That guy's a leftover.
That guy's a leftover now. So. Okay. But the point is, though, like, there's people that want to keep it secret with people that want to be on the outs. So I think it might be a little bit of the cookout effect. But at the same time, I think there's the main people that want to keep it secret are for their own selfish needs.
Yes.
And so
Monty wants to say it because he doesn't have anywhere else to go. The rest of the house wants him out. Joseph can go somewhere else, so he's got to keep his cards close to his vest.
Right.
Exactly.
And not just that, Monty has made it clear he has no interest in going anywhere else either. He has no interest. So with all of that being said, we have the other two veto players are going to be Jasmine, picked by Terence, and Kyle, picked by Indy. Decent draw. A lot of people that can't win stuff. They speculate that it's going to be a prize competition, and lo and behold, it is. It's the classic BB comp where someone usually gets a leotard, someone else gets another punishment. Usually there's a third punishment, and then there's 3 prizes, usually money, something else, and the golden power of veto. As the competition goes, obviously, as each person gets eliminated each round, they go and they smash the guitar in this sense, because it's a punk fest. They smash the guitar, and then you get a prize that's in the guitar. When you're the first one out, it's usually the golden power of veto, and the idea is that it moves on down the line as you get prizes and punishments along the way.
Can we talk about Turner hosting this? Because I loved him hosting it. He's awesome. I also would not be surprised if that's how he dresses at home.
Well, normal,
he wears that makeup at home. It was just such a perfect fit.
Right.
They'll do his clothes. They'll do his regular clothes. They gave him no costume. So Turner, just wear that flannel thing you wear in the back. The one you wore on Sunday. Yeah.
He put on that makeup. It looked so perfect. So right.
So he's out there. So Turner's out there. The way the competition works is that there is essentially a bunch of numbers set up, some positive, some negative. You have to throw the ball down on the numbers and have it bounce on down the line. And you get the point totals that you get as the ball bounces, right? Each round, if you're the lowest score, you will be eliminated. There was some interesting strategy in this competition.
Yeah.
A lot of it wasn't great strategy. The best strategist by far in this competition was Jasmine. And she was proof positive why she should be the one going home this week, because she proved to be the best strategist the whole way through. I don't know why she's not shooting at Jasmine, but as the competition bears out, the first person out is good old Sweet Tea.
Shocked.
Terence, first one out, smashes the guitar, boom, golden power of Veto. He's
Rock
keeping
the
it.
veto,
Terence
baby.
is going to win Veto. Rocking the veto. Terence is going to be the veto holder, so that's who gets it first.
Do you think Terence tried to run away at that point?
Take off. You got to be.
Can't get the veto if you can't catch me.
Where's my
He's
bus?
easily
I need to
catchable.
get on.
I need to jump on the bus. The thing that I thought was interesting was that once Terence got the low score of 1, right? You just had to beat 1. It right in front of you is 1. The next one is 2. I don't know why more people, as the competition went on, when people got low scores of 0, 1, or 2, didn't just throw the ball down right in front of them.
Yep.
If these people were not so bad at competitions, if they weren't so bad at competitions, we would be talking about how 4 of the 6 of these players threw this competition tonight. But because they are so bad at these competitions, we're just like, oh, I don't know why they didn't use that strategy. That's dumb.
And Jasmine was like, "You said I gotta beat 1, or I gotta beat 0. Stay left.
1.
1's right here. 1. Oh, you got a 1, 2. That is it.
Hey, you can't win if you're out. She just didn't come in last until the end.
True.
Exactly.
So
It was great.
the first person out is Terence. Second person out is Indy. Indy gets the tattoos, the Blink 182 tattoo punishment. She's gonna have to have 182 temporary tattoos placed on her body. I don't know who came up with this punishment, but I thought that was very interesting. So she gives that to Terence, and she takes the golden power veto. Fantastic move.
I'm
Next
not going to
person
lie.
out.
I saw that punishment. I hate temporary tattoos so much. I would have taken anything other
Why?
than that.
Why?
I just don't like them. I don't like how they feel on my skin. I feel like they take forever to scrub off. I'm just not a fan.
Do you have
And
real
if you're
tattoos?
82,
No, I don't have real tattoos. But the reason I don't have real tattoos is because I have a very dark complexion, in case you couldn't tell. And color
What?
doesn't show up well on my skin for tattoos
Huh.
based off of my parents' tattoos.
I've never thought about that. That's really interesting.
It's true. It's true.
We're learning things. We're learning things today.
The next person out. Go ahead, Sheldon.
Yeah, go.
Go ahead, Sheldon.
No,
Ask more questions about these
I'll ask
tattoos.
my
He
tattoo
has more
questions
tattoo
on the
questions.
tattoo podcast.
So the next person out is Taylor. She smashes her guitar and she gets a trip to London. London,
Take me.
baby. London.
Take me. She's so excited
Fantastic.
about it.
So excited. She looks at the power of vetoes, knows it's going to get stolen from her, has no interest in a punishment, says, you know what, I'm going to hold on to this trip to London.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now the next person up is Alyssa. She is out. Alyssa's out. She smashes the guitar.
Danger.
And she gets the Sid and the Kid and Fancy, something like that. It's a Sid and Nancy themed punishment.
Yep.
Where she has to be chained to someone and they have to dress as Sid and Nancy and talk like them for 48 hours. This is the luxury. This is that competition where you do like a Yankee swap.
Yep.
Standing there is the HOH with the London prize. And she says,
The HOH.
Yes.
The one with the power.
yes. She's standing there. She says, remember, I got that renom power.
Mhm.
And then Alyssa smiles and she giggles. And they say, what are you doing? And she says, are you serious about that renom? Why are you even asking her? I wouldn't even be asking her. I'd be like,
Nope.
She definitely is serious about this renom. I'm not even going to find out. Give me
Nope.
that. Give me this punishment right here, or let me switch with Indy for the power of veto and give her that punishment right now.
Can I hop in here for a second, because we all know she took it, and I was like dumbfounded that you would ever piss off the HOH. But
Right.
logically, why would you take it? Like, why would you not take the veto, knowing that you're working with Jasmine, knowing that you're working with Kyle, knowing that you want to save Indy, and neither of them are going to take the veto from you, so you can actually use it to save Indy, and you're both safe? Like, what was your logic here?
Very good point.
There was none. I imagine her thinking she's walking by Big Ben, Kyle on her arm. They're making out. They're having a gay old time, enjoying the streets of London. I think that's what happened. And game is over with Alyssa. And she was promising to me at the beginning. She really was. And it's over. She won. She got Kyle. That's it.
Chat, if you tell me why would y'all not take the veto in the situation? Tell us about Alyssa's move. Tell us about it in the chat. Now, Sheldon, I think you're right, and I want to stop down right here. Alyssa has completely thrown away her whole game. She has decided that the game, and for a lifelong fan, it is so odd to me that she just doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't get
it. She just doesn't care. Have you guys noticed this?
Yes. I don't get it.
CJ?
Yeah, I don't have an answer.
I think it's both Kyle and Alyssa knew that getting into a showmance was not a good idea in the game of Big Brother. They could not resist. They did. They ate the forbidden fruit, and now, even if they have the dream of winning Big Brother 24 with $750,000, I don't think, especially for Alyssa, maybe Kyle still thinks it because he's in this majority alliance. For Alyssa, I just don't think she sees it at this point. And I think at this point, she's kind of just like, trip to London? Yeah, sure, because I'm not going to win anyway.
But isn't there an argument that she would want to do a smart thing that keeps her in the house longer with Kyle? Wouldn't that logic come into her head at some point?
Don't say the word logic, please.
Okay.
Not in this discussion.
I don't know. Poor gal.
Jackie agrees with you, CJ. She also thinks that Jasmine and Kyle would not have taken the veto from her. And that's why you take it so that way you don't have to take any of those punishments, and you have the veto and you can do what you want with it. Save Indy, don't save Indy, whatever you want to do. I don't care.
Do you think that Alyssa's best case scenario was that she would get the trip to London and Kyle would pick the chain together punishment so that she could be chained to him in the house and then go to London with him outside?
And be chained together there too, just for the fun of it.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I thought she would have even. I thought maybe she wanted to keep the punishment, and then that way she could be chained to Kyle throughout the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's what I would have done if I wanted to be chained to Kyle. Yes.
Man. Oh man, I just didn't understand. So she takes the HOH's. Oh God. She takes the HOH's reward, vacation, and it pisses Taylor off. Obviously. We've done the final two. It's Jasmine and Kyle. Jasmine gets a low score. She's in second. Kyle wins the whole thing. Good for Kyle. Jasmine gets cold, hard cash, $5,000, baby. She looks it up.
Why does it annoy me? Why does it annoy me that Jasmine gets cash? Why?
Because you hate her, obviously.
I don't hate her. We know Sheldon doesn't hate, but I don't love her.
Well, she ends up giving the money to Alyssa and taking the trip right from her. And so the trip ends up with Jasmine anyway. Alyssa gets $5,000 cash. We then watch as Kyle takes the power of veto from Indy and gives her the punkatard, which is going to be a leotard that she has to wear with probably some punk spikes. And that is the competition, guys. I always love the Yankee Swap competition every season. It's always interesting to see who goes for cash, who goes for prizes, who goes for Stuff, who goes for the veto. It's a lot of fun. I still think it was a terrible, terrible, terrible call by Alyssa. And it's worse than she knows because, like, when she gets in the diary room, Taylor's just going in on her.
Yeah.
And that was also like post competition. Taylor was annoyed. Taylor was emotional. Yeah, it was still bad. I don't know.
Sheldon, if you took a trip from London, a trip to London from me when I have the HOH and you have no safety, and I'm looking for a reason to kick one of the four of you.
Yeah.
You just gave me all the reasons in the world.
All the reason.
But I will say this. We'll get into it. But this is the other tiff that I had with Taylor tonight, coming up soon in a theater near you. With the emotions that come out from this, I completely understand. But the fact that it leaked into the game, and Kevin, I'm sure we'll get to that. I'll say a little bit more about that after.
Okay, so we then get her. Like, I thought it was great because the episode actually ends here with Alyssa saying, "My mom is going to be so mad that I didn't take the veto. I know that that's what you're supposed to do here." You get Taylor going off in the DR about how she's going to make Alyssa pay for this much sooner than she thought.
Yep.
Right. Much sooner than she thought. We got Kyle also going up there and being like, how can you be so dumb? I'm sitting here trying to save you and protect you, and you're making moves like this. Come on, babe. You can't be doing this because the Alliance is going to want you to go up, and that's going to be a problem. And lo and behold, in the HOH room, they've already made a decision that it is Alyssa's time to go. They cannot believe she made the move that she did. And then we are left on a cliffhanger. No veto ceremony. No, what are we going to do with the veto? None of that. This is where we end the episode. What did you guys think? Tell me about it. Let's go. That good, huh? Cricket. Y'all loved it.
Here's the thing about this episode is nothing happened the whole episode. Like, a lot of it was just like trying to get Taylor on board with switching from Terence to Indy, which, again, not a big move. Easy HOH. Okay, so you spent 25 minutes getting Taylor on board. Okay, now Taylor's on board. Time to show the competition. Alyssa makes a really dumb move, but she looks like she's going to get bailed out once again by her showmance boyfriend, whatever, Kyle, because since Kyle and Taylor are in the same alliance, Kyle knows exactly how pissed off Taylor is. And if he thinks it's going to put Alyssa at any danger to use the veto, regardless of what Taylor is telling him, he just doesn't use it, and Alyssa's safe.
Do you guys think that it's over? Like, do you think that Kyle chooses Alyssa over the leftovers?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You think it's done?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I think it took about 10 seconds of contemplation.
May I ask, if that's the case, isn't this prime time for Brittany and Michael to say, "Come on in, Kyle, let's talk"?
It is, and we will get to that.
Is that? Did I? Oh my God, was that something that happened? Am I psychic?
It's
or watching the feeds. I don't
you
know.
gotta wait till spoiler corner, Sheldon. You gotta wait till spoiler corner.
I
just wanted to say the thing that I was just a little bit like I said, rooting for Taylor. Like, I'm like, this is your HOH. Let's do this. Alyssa makes a incredibly dumb decision. And instead of, like, I would look at that like, wow, this girl really doesn't know how to play the game. This is perfect. Keep her in here. But like Michael said at the end of the episode, he's like, and I was so glad they put that in there because I'm sitting here like, oh, like, I don't want to be the one to say that this is an emotional, rash decision because I like Taylor. I'm rooting for Taylor. Like, I want her to go very far in this game. But I'm sitting here like, don't get any more blood on your hands. This is better. If you're going to try to go after Alyssa, this is better for your alliance than you. Now it's not our HOH. It's literally, you're pushing it on. It's their HOH if you make this emotional decision. So that was the one thing that I was just a little bit like, damn it. Like, it was like the last straw of this HOH for me, where I'm like, there is just no plan. There's no structure. There's no, we're in a much better place as an alliance after this week. If anything, I think it's in a much worse place. Because I understand you got a trip from London stolen from you, but you can buy 1,000 of those or more with $750,000.
Right. You're right. With that, listen, we're going to get into the spoilers right now because you're right, Mike, and I have so much to say. Before we go, Mike, where can they find all the content for us here?
You can find us at For The Fans Reality. Follow us there, TikTok, Instagram, we'll say, Twitter, and everything else. Yep.
CJ, where can they find you?
Find me on all the socials at Keyboard Sarcasm, Twitter. I don't really use Instagram, but I'm on there. Don't really use TikTok, but I'm on there. But I tweet and I talk about things.
You can find me at KG Fury on all the things. Check that out. I tweet and stuff too. Also, make sure you're getting those. Make sure you're liking and subscribing and writing comments because we love to respond to you guys and chat with you guys, especially when you're here live and in the chat. Don't go anywhere though if you want to hear about what happened in the rest of the week and as we gear up for this eviction. So stay here if you want that. If you want to dip right now. Oh, Sheldon, where can they find you right here now?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. He's not allowed to have Twitter because he's from Canada.
Yes.
Also, hit that notification bell too. So when we go on air, you don't even have to do it. Just click a button. You're like, oh shit, look who's on, and you just watch.
Yes, hit the notification bell, like, comment, subscribe. Also, subscribe to the podcast. Listen in if you can't make it with us live. That way you can take us with you on your walk or on your drive. Take a listen to us on the podcast. The episode will be uploaded usually the night or the next morning after the episode airs live here on the show. If you're leaving now, see you later. We're going to get into spoilers in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The veto doesn't get used, y'all.
What?
So, as we see, Kyle is the veto holder. The plan is for his boo, his bae, his girl, the girl he has laid it on there for a total of 20 seconds. That's combined. Those are like two different sexual experiences combined for a total of about 20 to 25 seconds.
Maybe there was foreplay. It's not all about that.
No, soup to nuts. It's so like they make out a little bit from soup to nuts from the moment that things started, the moment it slips in, the moment till it's done, 10 seconds.
Soup to nuts?
Seconds.
Soup?
Yeah.
What is that? This is an American
I don't know, Sheldon. It's an American term.
Look it up. I'll teach you later. When a man loves a woman, it's
with those things, it is insane that now BB says 10 seconds plus 10 seconds equals 20 seconds. We don't know exactly how long the first encounter lasted. We do know that the second encounter at least lasted 10 seconds because they were in the bedroom. Mike, you.
I'm just going to predict that if the second one was 10 seconds, not from experience or anything else, just if the second one was 10 seconds, I'm going to guess that the first one was actually less.
What's quicker?
I won't tell you why.
Can we listen? Who cares? They love
we
each
do.
other.
Yeah, I do.
Let them be happy. If it's 10 seconds, 10 hours, 20 minutes, let it be. Let them be happy.
Nah,
I don't know, Sheldon. 10 seconds after a refractory period is not very long.
Oh God.
That it wasn't even a refract. Like he went in there. Like they were in the bed. So this is how it broke down, right? Because we will get into the strategy in a minute, but this is just insane. This is like 2 days ago. They were in the bedroom, in one of those bedrooms. Indy popped in. They were having a fight. The two of them were having a fight because she's like, you're hot and you're cold. You want to do this. You don't want to do this. He's like, listen, we should probably stay away from each other. And then she's like, you're breaking up with me again for like the 100th time? He's like, I haven't broken up with you 100 times. She's like, it feels like it's been like 3. And he's like, no, I haven't broken up with you at all. They're quiet. Then she notices that he's upset. She reaches back. She rubs his back. They turn over. They turn around. They lay down. They talk about the fact that they shouldn't be fighting. They should enjoy this time together.
Why
They don't
why
fix
am I
anything.
getting a play-by-play? Why
Because
do
this is
I
where-
need this information in my
Because
life?
this preamble is
Yeah.
much longer than what happened.
Oh,
because
boy.
at that point, we get all that on feeds. The camera switches. And then about 5 minutes later, it switches back. And Kyle's laying on his stomach. And she's laying on her back. And she has like a smile on her face. And then he's getting up. And he says, I wish I had the clip. He says, I'm so sorry that lasted like 10 seconds. He says that. And she's like, it's fine. And then he's like, I like you. And she's like, do you like me like me? And he's like, I like you. She's like, I like you too. And he's like, all right, I'll see you later. He leaves the room. She says to the camera, I love him, America. I love this man. And Kyle's mom, I'm going to be the best wife for him. And we're going to get married. And she says all this to the camera, just her. Like talking to the
Welcome
camera.
to For the Fans Entertainment After Dark, where we give you play-by-play of the Big Brother House Guest love life.
It's
And then-
at only for the fans.
And so that's what happened. And a lot of confusion was there. People thought that the first time lasted 10 seconds. But no, he was talking about then. In that 5 minutes that they were off feeds and it came back, that's when they had sex.
I don't care. Let's move on.
I think everybody else does here. Right here, B Bean right here in the chat said Kevin just describes a very romantic experience. It wasn't. It was just a quick, a wham bam. I think that was even longer. Like it was.
Wait,
Oh,
okay.
wham,
I have a
bam.
question. I have a question for B Bean. I need his answer in the chat. Is this more or less romantic than having sex on a pool floaty?
Yeah, that's a good question. More or less, I wish I could do
wanna
a poll.
I want to take a different angle to the sex thing. Your mother's at home watching.
Yes.
Now Sheldon's
Americans
interested.
At home watching. What the heck are you? You're in a house for a few months. Relax. You're going to be in the jury house soon. If you want to have fun, there's no cameras there. What are you doing making a fool of yourself? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Hold on, let me see if I could. I think I figured it out. I'm going to share this because Sheldon needs to hear this.
Oh, I don't want
I
to
need
hear
to
it.
share.
I don't want to hear it.
this.
Don't need it. Don't need it.
It's not them hooking up.
Could you imagine
Here
how
it
it's
is.
at the Mormon churches? Could you just imagine? Oh, God.
You go.
Huh?
You go.
No, Hugo. All right, I have to go.
You're meditating.
I'm gonna say we just had sexual intercourse for 10 seconds. Sorry, I don't laugh for very long. I'm not very good at sex, but I like you, and I like having sex with you. And if you want to stop, we can.
How much do you like me?
As much as you like me. How much do you like me? You can't put a word. You can't put a scale on it. I like you, and
You like me?
oh my God, come on.
Oh, guys, I told you it was glorious.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a good night.
Listen, this is. I'm sorry. Look, Mike. No offense, but this is life in your early 20s. Like that's all it is. That's why I don't give a crap.
He's 29 years old.
What?
This man is 29 years old.
Though his background, he does say he hasn't had much, like
Experience.
experience with but alas.
15 seconds by next year. 15 seconds by next year.
So the thing that's super interesting about this is that when they had sex on the pool floaty, that was Saturday night. So as you saw, they were in the room discussing her going up. Kyle wasn't in that room. Kyle was too busy. I thought he was going to be having like a nice romantic evening. It was probably like a 10, 15 second type situation, 5 maybe. And so it was real quick, but he was just laying with her for a long time. So he hears about the plan after he slept with her. He understands the reasoning, but you can't put her up after that.
No, you can't knowingly backdoor your girlfriend / showmance after you just laid the pipe.
You can't put her up after she got you up.
Right. We got this man going, and then you have her going. You know what I'm saying?
I just broke Sheldon.
She can't get you going, and you get her going. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have that happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. I get it.
Here's the problem, though. Here's the part of all of this. The leftovers needed to deal with this Alyssa business a long time ago.
They tried to. He didn't want to be a part of it.
But then fundamentally they had a real significant issue with the makeup of the leftovers. Kyle couldn't be in there if he wasn't willing to do it just doesn't work.
That's actually the worst part about it. It's because Kyle's like, man, she can go whenever. She can go whenever. And they're like, cool. How about today? I don't know about today.
Yeah.
I don't know about today. I don't know why she can go later. She could
give
probably
me another
go
10 seconds. Just give me another 10 seconds.
Yeah, but I mean, we're making a lot of jokes about it, but like in all reality, this has fallen into game now.
Yeah.
Very much so,
Yes.
where the leftovers have a problem on their hands. And I mean, I think Kyle does as well. And honestly, this only benefits Alyssa. Honestly.
Yeah.
That's it. Only benefits Alyssa. Everybody else in the house.
The worst thing that could have happened to Kyle. This is the worst thing that could have happened to Kyle. And because, like, you know, people talk about showmances keep you safe. They legitimately do. But usually both people in the relationship are in the alliance.
Yes.
I've never seen someone showman someone outside the alliance. And so you see what's happening here is a lot of, listen, I can't tell you what's going on, but I'm trying to keep you safe. I can't tell you what's going on, but you just got to trust me.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what's going on, but you can't do this. You can't do that. She's like, why can't you tell me what's going on? Because I can't. Because I just can't. You can't serve two masters.
And it's funny because I talk about this being the easiest HOH we were going to have all season. But realistically, this would have been the perfect time to put them both up and get rid of one of them. And I know you don't want to blow up the leftovers yet, but like, you have to get rid of Alyssa.
That line in the sand
is
happens tomorrow.
That is the number one reason why this alliance is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the perfect opportunity for that line in the sand to be drawn. Whichever way it'll be drawn, I think one of those two easily is going home tomorrow. More than likely,
it got drawn. It got drawn, Mike, because Kyle does not see the logic in putting Alyssa up. The alliance pushes, especially Monty, Joseph, and Taylor, because they have decided that it's best for the alliance for Alyssa to go. Now, Brittany and Michael, as I said yesterday on Monday, they have been doing what they can to make sure they position themselves for the war to come, right? It's going to be a civil war. They want to make sure that they have the troops to go at it. They tell Kyle, we don't want Alyssa to go. We support you. We want Alyssa to be here. They're going to ask you to put Alyssa up. What we didn't see in the episode is that it was actually Brittany who brought it up to Taylor's attention at first, that it should be time for Alyssa to go based on what happened. So Kyle is staunch that he's not using the veto to backdoor Alyssa. There's a lot of infighting that goes on, and then he does not use the veto on Monday. Veto does not get used, and that's a lot of the content we're going to get tomorrow. Since that has happened, up until an hour or two ago, Indy thought she had the votes to stay. Terence was going home. Terence thought he had the votes to stay. Indy was going home. Indy now has been informed that people are unsure what they're going to vote. So that usually means she's going to go home.
Side note, this is the fourth week in a row that the votes have somehow magically flipped over the course of the week, and yet they still can't put together. There's a 7-person alliance. These people are dumb.
Yeah. But that's important because Kyle is starting to push more and more for this new alliance. The last
Yes.
3 days, he has been asking Turner, "How do you feel about? Do you think the Seven's going to stay together?" And Turner's like, "Yeah, I think it's fine." And he's like, "What if we like take a shot? Maybe I don't know. Do you think someone's going to take a shot?" And Turner's like, "I think the first person that takes a shot is just going to get taken out next." So I'm not really interested in doing that. Kyle keeps reporting back to Michael because Michael said he's on board if Turner gets on board. Because what Michael and Brittany want to do is have someone shoot at the leftovers from inside the leftovers. They're going to tell them they have their support. They're going to ride the wave into taking out the first person, Amonte or Joseph. And then they're going to flip back and work with the rest of the leftovers to oust Kyle when he makes the shot. So they don't really want to be at the end with either one of them, which is smart. Smart gameplay. So with that being their strategy and their plan, they've been stoking those flames. Now, in addition, something that they're not showing you on the show, because the show is completely different than what's happening on the feeds. They're like night and day different shows. Kyle wants to put together an alliance that is himself, Alyssa, Michael, Brittany, Turner, all the white people, because he is convinced that there is a cookout-like alliance coming together on the other side. Brittany sat down with Kyle yesterday and told him, "Listen, you cannot just assume because they're minorities that they're working together. There's been empirical evidence to show that they're not, and so the optics of you just going around trying to get this together are pretty terrible." The internet is roasting Michael and Brittany for allowing Kyle to get this far down the rabbit hole. But for me, in my opinion, I feel like Brittany and Michael have not really been on board. They've been like playing the game and saying, "All right, Kyle, all right." But then after this thing happened with Alyssa, the line was drawn in the sand. Kyle is trying to find the troops to take the shot.
Yeah.
And he's willing to take the shot next week against minorities because he thinks that they're going to work together. Terence, he thinks they're going to keep Terence, Jasmine, Taylor, Monty, and Joseph are all going to be against them. That's what he thinks is happening here.
And that's why after the episode today, the hashtag "Stop Protecting Kyle" was trending and getting a lot of traction, is because
that actually wasn't even trending after the episode. It's been trending all day.
True.
It's been trending all day. Stop
when
protecting
everybody's
Kyle.
seeing it, and that's when it's taken off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I don't understand, and I think you sort of alluded to it, Kevin, is the only part of that doesn't make sense to me is the Jasmine part, right? Which completely makes the entire
Actually, the
sense.
Jasmine and the Terence part don't make sense.
And the Terence part, exactly. Yeah, so two of them. Like it just doesn't make logical sense. So I don't really understand where Kyle's coming from. If I was Kyle, I would try to get Jasmine and Terence on board with him and pull in Terence and pull in all of the other side and do something.
He has a direct line to Jasmine through Alyssa.
Exactly.
A direct line.
Not to mention
He
that
told-
Monty and Taylor are in your alliance, the leftover alliance. That's been so and
dominant.
If there was a time to make this move, if this is a thing, it would have been this week, right? If Taylor's the HOH. So I don't know where I didn't know this till now. I haven't been watching the feeds as much, but maybe this is like and I hate to say it, maybe it's kind of like a Hail Mary to save Alyssa. Anything I can do to save Alyssa.
That's the problem. Alyssa's not in trouble. He's trying to create something new. And another thing that's real troublesome about this is that he told Alyssa, he's been telling Alyssa, you can't talk to anyone that we talk game. And he told Alyssa, you need to be wary of certain people in this house. You can only trust certain people. She said, you should not be talking game with Jasmine anymore. And Alyssa's like, Jasmine? Like, why not? Like, Jasmine's been like rock solid with me. And he's like, I just don't know if we can trust her. I don't know if we can trust her because he's convinced there's a Cookout 2.0 going on. And B Bean is right. He's been talking about this 2.0 for about 2 weeks, or about a week. It's as long as Michael has been the HOH. So how long? That was last week. And even then, Michael's like, nah, I don't really know.
We started talking about it last Friday when Michael won HOH. So it's been about 12 days now.
I don't actually think I personally got Shelly canceled right now. I don't actually have a problem with the idea of a potential Cookout 2.0 to happen, to be brought up as part of a strategy talk. I think it will continue to happen in seasons and seasons to come, just because of, well, the history of Big Brother and what happened last season and how successful that alliance was. My problem with this is that it just fundamentally makes no sense, and there is no evidence to support it. Like, just saying, okay, well, this is a possibility. Well, yes, it's also a possibility that all the brown hair people come together. Like, it's also a possibility that everybody who likes toast with their cheese with their toast, like it just doesn't make sense. There's nothing to support it, so it's just dumb.
Yeah, I agree with that. Assuming that something that has happened in a past season may happen again, all girls alliance, all guys alliance, Cookout 2.0, I think that's fair. But again, it comes back to the fact that every single thing that has happened this season does not back that up whatsoever, including if this is the week he's pushing it, he picked the worst week to push it because you have a minority as the HOH. Wouldn't this be the perfect week to kind of be like, all right, we'll take control right now?
If this was happening, yeah. I think one of the biggest problems, though, of it is that he stated out loud that he is concerned this is happening due to their diverse backgrounds. That is the reason he thinks this is happening. Now, there's been, like you said, there's been no supporting evidence based on all of their actions. Him telling his white girlfriend that she should not be associating with her black best friend in this house because she cannot be trusted, though she's done nothing to prove untrustworthy to Alyssa. Yeah, it's insane. When Kyle first brought this up to Alyssa a week ago, 10 days ago, she's like, Jasmine hates Taylor.
Yeah, like hate.
Like Jasmine hates Taylor, and Terence talks a lot of shit about Taylor too. I don't think an Indy like super hates Taylor. I don't think they would be working together. And Kyle's like, you never know though. They might be. It might be all a part of the trick. And it's like,
look, the only evidence that could support this, I'm trying to get into his mind. I probably shouldn't because I don't know what's in there. But the only evidence I could say is, well, there are two people in the house that have been put up on the block 4 times. They both are black people. And so maybe that means that all of the people of color will come together and say, well, maybe they've been targeting us. It doesn't make sense because it was white people who put them up. It was people of color it just doesn't make sense. There's not enough evidence. There's no real evidence. It's silly.
Well, and at the same time, like Bean says, past alliances like the committee and all white alliance, the brigade all white alliance, these things don't get brought up because of their sameness, their white background, right?
No, I think there is a differentiation there. And the simple differentiation was the committee did not form to support white oppression. the Cookout was formed.
I don't know. Christmas was in it. So I don't know.
Maybe I don't know much.
I'll just play it.
Right? But it's a little bit of it is a bit of a different situation. Like I've talked about this. I don't like one of my favorite Big Brother players of all time was in the Cookout, Tiffany, and she lost the game because of her commitment to support black people. She lost her game because of that. And so there is a deeper thing. I don't think a lot of the white alliances in the past, at least overtly, were coming together.
There wasn't enough people of color that it mattered. Like there was no way.
That's another thing as well. Yeah. Absolutely. And I was gonna say I would say the same exact thing for if someone like Terence randomly came out and said, you know, all the white people are coming together. There's just no evidence to prove this. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at it just logistically, what I have in front of me, what I've seen, what has gone down nomination wise, veto wise, things like that. The 7-person alliance, including people of color. Like
The
if
thing
it was,
that's interesting,
yeah,
though,
I would
is-
say the
is
same
that-
thing.
well, the thing that's interesting is that the reason the cookout came together was to break 22 seasons of never having a black winner.
100%.
We've done that now, so it doesn't have to be done again.
Yeah.
So if for the next 20 years we're going to have people with their conscious bias, because this is a conscious bias at this point.
That's conscious.
for Kyle.
100%.
If we're gonna have people coming on this show thinking that the black people or the people of color are going to just band together always because of their struggle is ridiculous.
But hold on, we do have most seasons that all the boys come together, and then the girls are worried that the boys like that is a common thing that continually happens.
Right.
I don't think it's unfair. I think it's annoying. I think it's dumb. I think it's a silly way to play a game. I fundamentally do. But I think it's just part of it. Like, we are humans. We all have a bazillion different categories, right? There will never be enough Jews in the house that I'm in a Jewish alliance. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. If there was, maybe they'll say, oh, the Jews are about to come together. Maybe they'll do that. I don't know.
The biggest thing is that we see the guys come together, we see the girls come together. Neither group ever last. So it's not really something you should really be too concerned about. Guys alliance, girls alliance is not really a thing. Because they try and then they make actual bonds with people.
Yep.
The cookout, I might look in the house. If I walk in this house, there's 4 of us here. I look in the house, I'm gonna look at CJ and be like,
We'll have some kind of understanding.
and then we just go doesn't mean we're working together. I'm working with Sheldon.
Hold
know
on.
what I'm
Is it because y'all are not skinny? I was gonna call you guys fat, but I got
We're
scared.
fat. It's not because we're fat.
Then I'm in the alliance too. We got
Why not me? Why not me?
Sheldon is too. But what it is is that it's an understanding that hey, I see you, you see me, we see each other. Okay, cool. And then doesn't mean we're working together. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna say, listen, Sheldon, we got to put up CJ and Mike because that's who we're working against.
Yep.
Except if we take a look at this season, who's the first person that Monty hated? Taylor. Who's the first person Jasmine hated? Taylor. Which is why it's so silly. I wish I do maybe it's easy for a white man to say this. Maybe. I don't know. Probably is. But I wish that they would just play the game with humans and not with categories.
You got to find sameness. You got to find something that's a likeness to connect, and that's the easiest way to connect initially. And then you find out deeper things that you have that keep you in common, and that's usually how actual friendships and relationships and things form.
I think that's actually very true to the cookout as well, because I think they did have this common goal, but they did actually get along extremely well. To an extent.
There was some smoke between certain people.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but it wasn't enough to break it up. And that's unique, whether it's an all, minority alliance or whatever. Any alliance normally has turmoil that will ruin it at some point. And that this was a case where it just didn't happen. But to think that it'll happen again, I think is rare. I would say people make connections on the fly, in this game, for certain, for different things. I think it was pretty rare and unique that would happen, to the point where I don't think it would happen again. To think that it could be happening, I think is fair on Kyle's point. But like I said, when you look at everything on paper, you can't really pick out one piece of evidence, or you can pick out 2 pieces of evidence out of 500 things in front of you.
Weak evidence.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's where it's just if at the very least, it's absolutely terrible gameplay. And then everything after that is...
CJ, you're giving me a perplexing look. What's on your mind?
Well, it's just funny because you think about it and ignoring race, gender, anything, like, you're concerned these people are coming together. Well, it's kind of hard to make a final two with someone on day 2 when you've known them for 24 hours and then expect to actually ride with them until the end. Because, like, I might not vibe with you on the first day, but come day 28, we might be thick as thieves. And at that point, we might decide, hey, maybe we should be a final two. It's kind of dumb to, like, stand by this alliance you made early on blindly when this person might be a loose cannon. Like, I don't know, Daniel's undying love for Paloma.
Yeah.
It did him in because he continued to ride for her despite the fact that she was out day 8. Like, what are you thinking?
100%. Well, that's why, like, are there any alliances? Y'all are far bigger Big Brother historians than I am. Are there any day 1, day 2, final twos or alliances that actually make it?
I think Dan
the
and
Renegades.
Memphis.
Yeah, the Renegades.
But I think the fact that there are so little actually makes
Chilltown.
it
They
makes
didn't make it
CJ
final 2 though.
But you see, that makes CJ's argument stronger. Yes, there's going to be a 1 or 2 that happen. That's the way statistics work. But it is so dumb. Like, you need time to get to know a person. You need time. And I have to say that one thing I do have to give Daniel and Nicole is that, you know, they showed that thing of they looked at each other across the room and they were in it forever. Like that was pretty, like, they were completely committed, and that was impressive somehow. I don't know how they did that, but they just vibe evilness, I guess.
Kind of what we have now is Michael and Brittany are kind of, they come to mind a little bit more. I know they were festy besties, but they were festy besties for a reason. Michael even said, you know, I hope I don't get on Brittany's nerves by sitting next to her, but I need to do this. And I actually don't mind being festy besties with Brittany because we're working together. I would say that those two are the 2 left in the game that if they were to make it to the final 2, they would be the closest to the Renegades. You know what I mean? Like if Nicole and Daniel, oh God, were to make it the final 2, they would be considered that. But from what we have,
and breaking news: Battle back. Everybody, pre-jury is coming back.
Battle besties back.
Oh God,
2 people,
2 of them.
Bestie battle back.
No.
It's just interesting. I'm interested to see how this goes. Kyle, let's see if Kyle's thing comes together. Now, one thing that CJ found this tweet,
His
and I
thing
thought
is not coming together.
I
None of his things.
Well, CJ found this tweet right here that I thought was pretty funny. Right here, how are you a racist, a Trumpy, terrible at the game, still breastfeeding at 30, and a premature ejaculator? Pick a struggle. Hashtag BB24. Hashtag stop protecting Kyle. Hashtag KK Kyle. Oh, Kyle.
well, I think it's safe to say Kyle won't be on the show anytime soon.
I would. Okay, I'm not going to say that.
Go ahead, Sheldon.
No,
Go ahead.
not
Go ahead.
saying.
Go ahead. No,
Not
Sheldon, it's
saying.
okay.
No,
It's okay.
It's a safe
Sheldon.
space, Sheldon.
It's a safe space here. Just me, you, B Bean, Jackie, and the people that listen
no.
to our show.
No, like my thing is, it's the same thing with that I feel with Daniel and with Nicole. I don't want people to just be attacking all these people. It was a kind of a funny Twitter, a tweet, fine, but like, we don't see everything. We don't know everything. We don't see perception. And yeah, what we saw was a guy who was doing something that was certainly suspicious. At least it was not kosher. It was not good, right?
The hard part though with them is that you're being judged for the things we are seeing. Like, it's not like these are the things you are saying. These are the things that we
but
do
also, but at the same time, it's not like he hasn't been in an alliance with Joseph and Monty and Taylor. It's not like
true.
he's been
No. Some of these things are extreme. Don't get me wrong.
So here's the thing. I don't think Kyle is actually racist, but I think Kyle has unconscious bias. Like, I think Kyle would see a black dude walking down the street and cross the street so he didn't have to walk next to him.
I don't buy that.
But that's what unconscious bias is.
But I don't think he would do that. Again, I've never walked down the street with a man, but I don't know if that he would actually do that. And the argument of he has unconscious bias, fine, don't we all?
Oh no, 100%. But like one of those things you have to think about is like racism comes in many forms. So like saying I think they're all working together because they're colored, which obviously not his words, but like you're kind of pointing that and putting that out there, like that's a real bad look. And then you add into the fact that like you want to name your alliance the silent majority. That's another real bad look.
That's just dumb.
Yeah.
Now,
so like
one thing that I was listening to Terence talk on Rob had the podcast the other day. And
Rob has a podcast plug. So
he mentioned something
for the fans reality though.
he mentioned something though that was very poignant. Is that a lot of times the Big Brother house, is full of self-fulfilling prophecies, right? So Kyle is convinced this group is working together, so he's actively trying to make a counter alliance, which will then make those people have to work together, right? Like and then he'll be able to say, "See, that's what I was talking about." But your counter alliance made this alliance be created in order to combat you.
Yeah, but could you fundamentally see Alyssa turning her back against Jasmine? That's not going to happen. Like I don't see that happening. She has nobody
She just
else.
had the best 10 seconds of her life.
Yeah. You saw how
Then she and Michael need to go to the jury house really quickly to have a few more of those seconds.
Her and Michael.
You said Michael.
Mike is happily in a relationship right here.
Sorry, Kyle.
And yes, they're both in Florida, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, stop dreaming,
See,
Sheldon.
there you
Wake
go,
up.
Sheldon, with your unconscious bias saying they all look the same.
All the white people?
All the straight white males. Well, not even all the straight white males. All the white males look the same. There you go. Unconscious bias, Sheldon.
If you're saying I look like Kyle, I'm actually not going to argue. I'll be like,
I'm mad about it.
good looking dude.
I wish I was as skinny as Kyle and could win that many
like
competitions.
Kyle, if Mike looked like Kyle, his girlfriend might be more attracted to him. Who knows?
All right, guys. See you later.
Yeah,
Again.
Mike,
Why are you leaving, Mike? You'll be back in 10 seconds, just like Kyle.
What? Mike, where can they find you?
At For the Fans Reality is where our social medias are. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I think it's Mike REICK 24. I don't tweet too much about Big Brother because I lose followers when I do. But if you want to follow me anyway, that's fine. If you want to follow me on Instagram, MikeREICK. But more importantly, at For the Fans Reality, follow us there. Instagram will be up soon if they allow it.
Yeah, CJ.
Hey, follow me on all socials at Keyboard Sarcasm. I tweet about things, mostly Big Brother, but football season's coming up. I'll be branching out.
And you can find me at KG Fury. I'm all over the place tweeting about stuff. Also on Instagram. Do that too. I'm there posting nothing. So I'm just there. So check that out. Sheldon, you can find him here at his house or right here on the podcast. In fact, tomorrow though. Tomorrow you cannot find me, nor CJ, nor Sheldon, but Mike will be here tomorrow to recap the actual veto ceremony and the eviction and the house separation and all the things that this crazy 2-hour episode we're getting tomorrow. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit the little bell for the notifications. Also, make sure you subscribe to the podcast anywhere where you can hear podcasts. When we get to 250 subscribers, we will be giving away a signed Golden Power Veto. And check out our interview with the Poochster himself, Poochie Main. Pooch showed up here in the For the Fans Reality House, was interviewed by Mike and Sheldon with a fantastic interview. Check that out. Is there anything else I'm missing, boys?
I hate the word follow. It's really creepy, but yeah, follow us. Just not me.
Excited to talk about tomorrow night. I think it's going to be crazy night. I'm so ready to unpack it. I don't even know what's going to happen, but It's going to be fun, and I'll be here, and we'll get to it. It'll be great.
Perfect. So for coming to you from outside of the Big Brother house,
No.
remember, don't be racist. Good night.